So, before we get into it, I just have to tell you, your skin is looking amazing. Can you drop the routine?
I put face lotion on today. I put face lotion on. I put a little bit concealer on. I'm not gonna lie. I had a little breakout right here, and I have a little unibrow type of situation that I couldn't pluck out, so I just put a little concealer on it. I learned how to do it.
You're lying to us, but I'll accept it. So, one of my biggest questions, having watched Deli Boys, how do you relate to your character, if at all, in real life? I feel like his approach to, just going with the flow was super, relatable in a business mindset when it comes to laundering drugs.
Well, I would say the way I relate to my character the most is actually I am from a gas station family. Right, so my dad owns a gas station, and I am the only one out of my brothers that was like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work there, And so my older brother and my younger brother both had their long stint working at the store, and I somehow was clear of it. I did it for a little bit, but I did such a bad job that my dad was like, just go, just go. We don't need you here. And so I left, and I didn't look back.
Boys, you are honestly such comedic relief in so many scenes. I love your character so much. What can you tell us about tapping into a character not only losing their father, but kind of transitioning into a career world that you had no idea existed?
Yeah, well, first of all, just having the opportunity to be on a show and being given a role where you can actually have that much meat on the bone to really explore and expand on was just a gift in and of itself. Having a character that starts out ironically like people I have played in other shows. He starts out as, kind of this anxiety type A kind of guy. And then for him to get thrust into this new world and kind of, when I read those scripts and being like, oh, this job is already incredible. And now we're going here. And every episode was written like that. So we were even on our toes. So for me to see that that's where my character was going, I was like, yes, I love this. I love the idea of, pushing the boundaries like that. And as a person playing this character, I enjoyed that. That turn of, hey, this guy would probably, in any other situation, continue working up the corporate ladder and being that guy who would never take a risk, and putting this guy in a situation that forced him to get so far out of his comfort zone that he was like, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of good at this. And then seeing those kinds of wheels turn, it's so fun. It's so exciting. And I'm like, I know we're here for season 1, but between us, Kiki, the idea of where we go in another season is it keeps me up at night.
That's something that I think is so great about this show, because I can tell you typically why I tuned in. I'm half Sri Lankan, and it's every once in a while we get a show that just has our brown people of color thrown in, having this ensemble cast. But I feel like this show is so much more.
Yeah, we've moved. What's so great about the show is it's we're no longer, simply window dressing to a larger story, and we're no longer having our stories written by people who aren't us. And it's a thing that I hope all of us in any community feel. I hope you all feel the feeling of being on something that is created and developed and written by people in the community, because it is a huge difference. There's a different feeling, there's different details, there's different specificities. It's just amazing to have, it explored in this way, because, these characters of a guy working in a deli or a guy working in a gas station, I know people like that. And oftentimes in TV and film, they're just seen as their existence is the joke rather than what they're doing or what they're saying. And what this show does, which is so great, is it takes those people that would oftentimes be side characters and other things and be like, what if we gave these people 10 episodes of real layers where we find out who this person is as a person, what their problems are, what their insecurities are, what their deepest, thoughts are on their families and their ups and their downs. That's what's so great about the show,
What is it like taking on a character like that, where you kind of have to let everybody in the cast just kind of run amok around you?
Well, it's a character. That's where the comedy is. That shit just is falling apart around her, and she has to pick up the pieces of these whatever these two idiots create chaos, and Lucky has to clean up, and she has to make sure that they're not getting themselves killed, that they're not getting me killed, and it's life and death, which makes it so funny every day.
Awesome. And have you seen any of Deli Boys yet?
Yes, I saw the pilot. It's so fun. It's so good. I mean, this cast is incredible, and just seeing Porno Juggernaut with a gun is just very exciting.
What is it like to see an all POC, like especially brown cast in Hollywood?
It's so sick. I feel like, we get one of these shows every once in a while, and it's really exciting. And what's great about this one is that everyone in it is like genuinely a great person.
I mean, the fact that I get to be in Deli Boys is such a wild, wild ride. I can't believe I get to do something scripted, and I get to play a gangster, like a straight, badass gangster. That's a dream. Dream.
Tell me what it was like doing that transition to scripted television.
One of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. I've gotten so comfortable in the job that I do outside of this show. Like unscripted, I've been doing for now 8 years, so it's so easy. I could do it with my eyes closed. This was hard. This was a major challenge, and it's a character actor's job. I do a different accent, a different voice. It's hard, really hard, but I loved it.
I was drawn to this show specifically because of the brown cast. As a Sri Lankan woman, I feel like every couple of years we kind of get thrown a bone of like, hey, here's a cast that's brown. But when watching this show, I felt like it was so much more than that. Can you tell me a little bit about building characters from the basis and understanding who they are and what it's going to end up being? I feel like this show has the opportunity for a season 2, but I don't want to...
I hope so. I definitely feel like I have the threads, and I've had them for a long time to make more story, but, the market decides, as they say, right? I think that the way I got here was by not putting pressure on myself. So, of course, like, this was written as a sample, right? And it ended up becoming a show. And because I was writing it as a sample, I didn't feel the pressure of representing, you know what I'm saying? I was just being myself, and I was letting these characters as an extension of me be themselves. And I think that's what makes for good representation, right? Is not that we're like trying so hard to, educate people or whatever, but we're just being ourselves.
For our audience out there that is watching trailers, trying to figure out if they want to add it to their lineup of television, pitch the show to them. Tell them why they need to check it out.
Because it's just such a wild ride, and it's such a story. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it before, and it's just a really fun ride, and the characters are great. They're really, yeah. I can't say more than that because I'd give it away. But it's really worth the effort.
I would just say it's a show about a family who loses their father and are thrown into a world of crime they didn't know their father was the ringleader of, basically. So, I mean, you could truly replace us with anybody, white, black, Mexican, Asian. You could replace us with anybody, and the show still works. It doesn't matter who the characters are. The story is so strong that the story is good no matter who's playing it.
Very easy. You should watch Deli Boys because it's a hard comedy, and it has drugs in it, it has action in it, it has comedy in it, and you're going to get a Halloween costume out of it because these fits are fly as hell.
Deli Boys is literally, we keep trying to say it's like this, it's like that. It's not. It's like a totally new genre of crimedy and it's based only on jokes. So you'll just be laughing your way through it. It's not a didactic, show. It's not going to bring you closer to yourself or God. It's purely for you to laugh your ass off. And end of that's the end objective.
Deli Boys. Okay, rich kids who are now selling drugs. I think that's the quickest pitch. And it's silly.
It's so funny. It's so aggressive. It's so wildly entertaining. It's a version of brown people you will never see. And it's not just a brown show, it's a show for everyone. It's so entertaining.
This is a show that's ostensibly about these two idiot goofballs trying to survive, which is what's going to keep you watching, right? But I think what's going to shock you and hopefully delight you is the hard turns that we take in this show. They're gory. It's always this cross-section of a character moment, a story moment, and a big joke, right? And that's sort of our language. And I feel like watching an episode just for the joy of that moment, of that exclamation point, is enough of a reason to watch the whole thing.
Everything about this show is exciting. It is like a rocket ride to a roller coaster to a runaway train. And every actor in this show is so brilliant. And I feel like they've never been seen in this light. And that's what's exciting to me.
Everything about this show is fun. It's lit. It's really good people, really good, talented people. And I think it's going to be a show unlike anything anybody's ever seen.
I would say that there is nothing on television like this. You haven't seen something like this before. And it is hard comedy in a time when we are just needing to laugh. So, just enjoy it, have a good laugh, and tell your friends.